Hey, Rashawn, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for doing this. I've got two for you. Tell us what you did this fall while your teammates are playing. What did you do to stay in shape, and do you think that will hurt you in any regard in terms of it's almost like a season-ending injury where you have to get back in the groove?
No, I don't think it'll hurt me at all. Since I first started training, I've been at the same place, MJP in Dallas, Texas, training with Duke Manyweather. He's the O-line coach down there. He trains a lot of pro guys, and so I've just been getting in a lot of work, working on improving, my mobility, my body composition, strength, stuff like that. So it's been really productive.
How much did you miss hitting a guy?
A lot. It was hard at times. But after today, it's no more 40s, stuff like that. It's all football. So feeling good.
My other question was about your arms. Obviously, a lot's been made of the length. Did you ever think that would be such a talking point? And how sick of you are you tired of hearing it and kind of going out there and proving that they are long enough?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely tiring when you put so much work in, put all that film out of you playing tackle, and then people are going to question it just based off of a measurable. But honestly, as far as the teams I've talked to, they've been pretty honest with me about saying it's not a huge concern from them. So that's been good.
Thanks, Rashawn.
Yeah, thank you.
Next question for Jason Butt.
Hey, Rashawn. A lot of people point to your game against Chase Young in Ohio State as why you should be one of the top tackles chosen. But, is there another game that you would say was as good or better that maybe hasn't gotten as much attention?
I mean, yeah, that game definitely gets talked about a lot. You look at my career at Northwestern, I've been 37 starts, started as a true freshman and have just gotten better every single year. And so obviously it's more than just that game. Look at 2019 and, Michigan State, Purdue, Iowa, all games and more. But, yeah.
And just to follow, when it comes to the next level, how open would you be playing guard or even center?
I think I'm the best tackle in the draft. And so I, have a really high level of confidence about that. But at the same time, I'm a team player. So if a team wants to play me at guard, so be it. I'm all for it. As long as that's what's best for the team, I'm happy to play whatever position they need me at.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Go with Patrick Finley.
Hey, Rashawn, I'm curious do you have an appreciation for what it would mean for the program if you were picked in the top 15 or so? I mean, I think they've had one person picked in the top 22 since the NFL merger, 50 years ago. Can you appreciate kind of what it would mean?
I mean, yeah, that's honestly something I haven't thought about a lot, but it's pretty cool. And, Northwestern's such a great program. Just a place that, they do everything right here. And the way they develop us as athletes, I think I'm not going to be the last by any means. It's a huge honor to be able to represent them. And, hopefully it's just the start of a new norm.
And I'm curious, Fitz told the story about how he offered you tickets to the Big 12 title or Big 10 title game. And you said, no, I'd be a distraction. What, from your point of view, tell us that story. What went into you deciding that to let them just do their thing?
I mean, yeah, I made my decision to keep training whenever the season restarted, and it was my decision to see that through. So once I made that decision, I had to give it all to it, and the team knew they had my full support, and I was the first guy watching the game and rooting them on and stuff like that, and they knew that. But at the same time, I took a different path, and I was focused on my training, so that's why.
Matt Mayoko.
Hey, Rashawn, there's a little bit of talk about the 49ers at number 12 and whether you last that long remains to be seen. But have you had any contact with the 49ers? And what do you feel about your fit in that system where, they put a lot on the plates of the offensive linemen from an agility standpoint in the run game with the outside zone running game as well as pass protection?
I'm all for it. I can do it all. I feel like today I showed that as far as athleticism. You know, I'm all for it. I'd love to be in that kind of scheme.
And have you spoken to the 49ers?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of sense do you get about how you would fit in that culture?
100%. Seems like a really, really awesome organization, just the way they run things. And so that's a positive for sure.
Thank you.
Aaron Wilson.
Hey, Rashawn, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Aaron?
Well, thanks. Rashawn, I wanted to ask you about some of the things you learned from your dad and his athletic background as an NBA player, and also some of the things that you were able to pick up from just your football time at Clements and here in Houston. Thank you.
Yeah, my dad, he's amazing. You know, just from his experience, you know, he's a guy who came from Houston, went to Wyoming to play basketball, ended up playing in the league and overseas for a bit. And just throughout my life, he's always been that athletic influence. You know, he played center at 6'6", and so, you know, he was definitely a grinder, you know, and he taught me everything I know about just work ethic and being able to battle through adversity and stuff like that. And then Clements too. Unfortunately, we weren't able to be a very winning team when I was there, but you know, being part of that program and alongside like Coach Darnell and Coach Knowles, like they taught me so much about, even though things weren't going, you know, the way we wanted to on the field, I learned a lot about, you know, having a vision and being able to see that vision through even when times get tough. And so, yeah, I'm super proud of where I came from.
Matt Baker.
Hey, Rashawn, obviously you weren't the only high-profile player to opt out this year, but it's a unique thing to this year. What have your conversations been like with teams about that decision? What are they asking you? What are you telling them?
Yeah, again, I mean, they just asked why I opted out, and I tell them the same thing I told you guys. And, you know, usually they're pretty understanding of that.
How did you get better, or how are you a better player now because of that than you were in July, August?
Yeah, I mean, I was a much improved player going into my senior year, but now even more so. Again, just training with Duke, you know, he's a master. Every single day I was learning something new. He taught me how to move more efficiently, how to leverage better, you know, how to just be more powerful and explosive off the ball, stuff like that. And so I've, you know, my technique's shot up since the last time I played.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Cam Inman.
Yeah, Rashawn, what NFL player would you pattern your game after or see similarities to?
Someone I study a lot is Tyron Smith, just because I really admire the way he takes set angles and stuff like that. I've learned a ton just from watching him. And then a couple other guys, he's retired now, but Joe Staley, Zach Martin, Teron Armstead, Trent Williams even. You know, there's a lot of guys I just, you know, I don't do everything those guys do, but I try to, you know, pick and choose what works for me, and I've learned a lot.
What do you see from Joe Staley and Trent Williams specifically? I cover the Niners, so I'm curious what you see in those two guys as left tackles.
Yeah, you know, Joe's a guy who's kind of like me, maybe not seen as like the prototypical size of a left tackle, and yet he was still extremely effective, and just the way he was able to play, you know, he was a master technician. And then, you know, Trent's a freak athlete, who's also an amazing technician, does some awesome stuff with his hands. And so, yeah, those things.
Calvin Watkins.
Hi, I understand you mentioned Tyron Smith as someone you admire. Have you talked to the Cowboys at all during this process? And if so, what are your thoughts on why Tyron and Zach Martin are such talented offensive linemen?
Yeah, I mean, again, those guys are just future Hall of Famers, amazing players, amazing technicians. I haven't really talked to the Cowboys yet. But yeah, I mean, those guys are, you know, two awesome guys to try to model your game after. You know, like Zach Martin, me and him are kind of similar sizes, and obviously he plays guard, but watching him be able to kick out to tackle this year was really cool to see. Yeah.
Alexis Manzanares.
Hi, Rashawn. Hope you're well. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. You speak highly of your trainer, but Duke also speaks highly of you, and he even compared your mentality to that famous video, excuse me, of Matt Barnes inbounding a pass against Kobe Bryant, where Kobe's like not blinking with the ball in his face, right? And that's obviously a very high compliment to give someone. How have you created and nurtured that mentality, specifically in the past year, without that added experience of game days?
I mean, yeah, Duke's a man, but just that I feel like the unflinching mentality is all just a product of being prepared. You know, like when I feel most confident is when I feel most prepared. You know, when I know I've put in the work, I've done my due diligence, I've studied the film, the technique, and all that. And so really, it's just been, I mean, that's what I've been doing this entire time is, you know, learning more about the game, learning more about technique, and just working, improving my body. And so, yeah, it's all comes down to preparation.
Could you have, I mean, I don't want to assume anything, so the answer seems kind of obvious, but could you have spent that time preparing so deeply if you didn't opt out, or do you think that that can work to your advantage?
I mean, I think it definitely works to my advantage, but, you know, either way, I was going to be the same person. I was going to be consistent in my preparation and stuff like that. So it happened to go this way, but, you know, things would have gone well both ways, I think.
Great. Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Joe Reedy.
Hi, Rashawn. Most of the mock drafts have you going to the Chargers at 13. Just wondering if you've had any discussions with them and maybe if you saw some of their games last year with Justin Herbert.
Yeah, obviously, you know, they're on the come up doing some really cool things, but no, I haven't talked to them yet.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Jacob Infante.
Hey, what's up, Rashawn? You came away with really good numbers, not only in your 40-yard dash, but in your bench press, your 3-cone drill and 10-yard split and stuff like that. So I got to wonder, what's the key for you for maintaining that combination of athleticism without sacrificing any strength and vice versa?
I mean, I'd say it comes down to two things: good genes and just hard work. You know, I inherited a lot of athleticism from my dad, I think, and, you know, I've just, you know, put in the work to be able to put out numbers like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on your athletic traits, I mean, obviously I'd project that a bit in a zone scheme. Do you feel like you thrive a bit more in that sort of zone situation, or do you feel like it doesn't necessarily matter? Or just, is there a specific blocking scheme you prefer the most?
No, there's not. You know, I can do it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one last follow-up I had here. I mean, the Bears, they're picking at 20. Obviously, you'll probably go higher than them, but just wondering if you've had any discussions with them recently.
Yeah, just being able to talk to them a little bit today and, you know, get coached up a little bit by Coach Juan, Castillo. It was nice to, you know, today was kind of my first contact with them, but they were awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure.
Steve McGargy.
Regarding the decision to opt out, I was just wondering, do you think it made you any more or less prepared specifically for the things you did today and the pro day skills stuff? Did that help you or hurt you, or did it make a difference?
I don't think it made a difference just because we didn't do any combine specific training like 40 or shuttles, stuff like that. In the fall, the whole focus was technique, just as if I was playing a season. I didn't start the combine prep until January when everyone else did.
Colleen Kane.
Hey, Rashawn, I just wanted to ask you a couple of things about the kind of uniqueness of this pre-draft process, just because of the COVID precautions and stuff. I guess, first of all, what was your reaction when the combine was canceled? And do you think doing it this way with the focus on pro days is any less stressful on prospects?
It might be. this is my only time ever doing it, so it's hard to say because I don't have that frame of reference. But it's definitely nice to be able to do it around all my guys. I think we had 11 guys, performing today, and so it was really just cool. And the whole team is here, so being in that environment one last time was really cool. As far as the combine getting canceled, I knew it was a possibility from the start, and so my focus was just being prepared for whatever happens. Control what you can control, and so it's unfortunate, but it wasn't something I was super upset about.
And then just one follow-up. What are the difficulties of doing all the interviews and interactions over Zoom and on the phone with teams?
I kind of saw today, like when you're with a team in person or with a coach in person, like you can be real hands-on, getting into the specifics of technique and stuff like that. And so I'd say that's the biggest thing, is just being able to, like, in person, get coached up. Like,
We have time for 2 more questions. Next question, David Sarazi.
Hi, Rashawn. What's up? I was wondering, what makes you different from any other top prospect?
Again, I just think I'm the most consistent tackle in the draft. I'm able to win in different ways, but ultimately, I'm consistent. I get my job done. And so that's how. And I just, the way I change up my sets and my technique and stuff like that, not everyone else does.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, David.
And last question for Doug Farrar.
Hey, Rashawn, how's it going?
Good.
A couple questions. First of all, who's your agent?
Patrick Collins and Tommy Condon from CAA.
Okay. Second question. You knew you were going to get a Chase Young question, but the extent to which you were able to physically dominate him. I mean, there were starting left tackles in the NFL who couldn't do that last year. I mean, you knew what kind of challenge that was going to be, and you certainly met it. Was there a specific mindset that you went into in that game? Certain things you did technically with leverage that because, pushing him outside of the tackle box, 5 yards was pretty impressive.
Thank you. I mean, my mindset was just, everyone says this is the best guy, so I'm gonna go out there and show them that I am, And so I did all my same normal film study and preparation, and I just had a plan of attack, for the player he is.
Quick follow-up. Was there another guy who was as or more challenging than Chase Young?
I'd say Zach Bond and AJ from Iowa were also really good players.